Welcome to Building an App Startup Podcast. I'm David Andrews.
And I'm Logan Fritz.
Hey, who do we got on today?
We've got somebody who is a very close personal friend of mine, but also an entrepreneur in the Kansas City area, Justin Love from First Love Coffee. Justin, thank you so much.
Hey, we're going to throw in some applause here for you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Well, this is awesome that you have come on our podcast, Justin. I didn't really give him a choice. I said, you're coming on the podcast. And he said, okay.
I'm down.
So if you're watching either the Instagram live feed or our YouTube video, you can see that he's sporting one of our awesome limited edition Koalie tees that we have for sale right now on our website. And he's looking mighty ripped, I might say.
I was afraid I was going to rip out of it earlier.
Well, okay, not that ripped, but... No, very, very nice tee that you are wearing there.
Oh,
and
it's
it fits
so
you great.
soft.
And if you want one, you can go to our website right now, koalieapp.com/tee. You can order one there. So, David, how's it going today?
It's great. I'm better than I deserve. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm doing better because I'm drinking a little something right here out of my mug.
Is it gin?
It's not that. I'm not a big gin guy, actually.
That gets people fired up.
It does. But it's actually a little bit of First Love coffee.
That's right.
And it's delicious.
Thank you.
It's so good. And so as you guys probably know, we have Justin Love here today. And he is from First Love Coffee here in Kansas City, a local coffee startup that you guys aren't very old, right?
No, we just started back in September. We had the idea earlier this summer to start selling coffee to aid humanitarian efforts and missions around the world. And we had thought it might be a little too expensive, so we just kind of sidelined it for late June, early July, and then a business partner of ours approached us and said, "Hey, we're essentially going to give you a company." And we figured we'd be fools if we didn't take the opportunity. So we hopped right in. We launched September 9th of this year.
That's awesome.
So they gave you a company.
Essentially.
They gave you the coffee startup.
They said, we'll help you roast, we'll help you bag, we'll help you do everything. We make no money off of it. And so we said we'd be insane not to at least try to do this. So we went from not knowing anything about taxes, anything about entrepreneurship, anything about business, essentially, to having a business in 3 weeks.
So let's expand on that, because this is something that, we've kind of been going through recently, as far as I feel like one of the, I don't want to say like stigmas, but one of like the scary parts of starting a business is all of the government stuff, creating the LLC, doing the tax and stuff. I always just remind myself that there's a lot of stupid people out there that have LLCs and companies and businesses, and somehow they do it and they're not in jail. So to me, that means if you're out there right now and you're a decently smart person, you know,
as long as you're not taking millions of dollars away from the government, I think you're going to be fine, especially small startups. So when we first started, because of what we're going to be using funds that we have for, we figured we should be a nonprofit. We just kind of thought that made sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then we started looking at how the government investigates nonprofits versus for-profit companies. For nonprofits, they're under a lot of scrutiny. They want to make sure every cent is exactly where you say it is. So if it's in if it's in this account, that it's in that account. You can't fudge numbers. You shouldn't be fudging numbers anyway.
Right. Theoretically. Hopefully.
Theoretically, you should be fudging numbers. But you're under a lot more scrutiny. For-profit companies, essentially what the government does is they outline huge tax loopholes for you so that you can start your own business, and they essentially turn a blind eye. Like, oh, wow, you're an entrepreneur? All right, have fun.
Right. Capitalism at its best.
Absolutely.
Great. Yeah. Well, that's very cool. So we've got a couple questions that we've outlined here so that, number one, our listeners can kind of get a better idea of what you guys do. And number two, just talk about what you're excited about. So the first one you kind of talked about, which is what you do.
You sell coffee.
I do sell coffee.
But it's not just coffee. It's coffee with a purpose,
It's
right?
coffee with purpose. So my wife and I were the co-owners and creators of First Love Coffee. We really wanted to distribute and give good coffee to people who want to make a change in the world. So both of us have been all over the world, both humanitarian efforts and on mission trips through our churches. I also serve in the Marine Corps. And a huge part of both of our callings was we just want to help people. And so we decided, hey, we're going to combine our love of helping people with our love of coffee and combine those two. And so all the coffee that we have is from all over the world. And there's no third party. So it goes straight from the farmers through us into your hands because most people don't know coffee farmers here in the United States. In fact, there rarely are any coffee farmers.
Sure.
But it's
I don't know a single coffee farmer.
It's some of the best coffee from around the world. From Southeast Asia, Honduras is where we're actually going. Every year, Ashley and I go down to Koalie, Honduras, which is where some of our beans come from. Ethiopia, we were just there this past summer in Africa, and we directly work with farmers through our ministry partner, and it goes straight into your guys' hands.
Very cool.
That's awesome. So first, before we move further, thank you for your service, by the way.
Yeah.
The Marine Corps. That's very cool.
I've enjoyed it.
Very great. So let's move on to the second one. How long have you guys been doing it? We kind of talked about that. Mm-hmm. We talked about how it started in September, right?
Yeah.
But before that, you'd kind of been contemplating it for a little while.
Yeah. So I was on a deployment this past summer. I was in Lithuania, and the idea kind of struck me because we were going to Honduras. I said, what if we just sold coffee to help raise funds for us to be able to go on this trip? And the wife kind of said, well, it kind of seems expensive. Right. Roasters are huge, and they're expensive, and I don't think our apartment lease would cover that.
It wouldn't be okay with you.
No, I don't think they'd be okay.
In your apartment.
I don't think they'd be okay with that. And so we kind of sidelined it. And like I said, somebody graciously came to us and said, hey, they're also a coffee shop here in Kansas City. They do roasting for coffee shops all across the United States. And they said, hey, we want to help you launch this thing. And we're not going to make any money off of it.
That's really cool.
And they essentially just landed into our laps. And so we jumped right in. It was an amazing adventure and it was scary, to be quite honest. So
oh yeah.
And I know you guys are doing the exact same thing.
We're not making coffee.
You're not making coffee, yeah. But you guys are doing the exact same thing where you guys have worked 3 years on this app.
Yeah.
And
it's been a while. And
it's disheartening when something doesn't launch right away or something. You really got to dig your heels in, get into the trenches, because if it's something that you think is worthwhile and you want other people to enjoy it, you got to make it your baby. But I think the other part, then this is where we're going towards, is how do we make it other people's baby?
Yeah, we've mentioned that same thing. Is it's a conundrum to try and figure out how to take something that you love so much and that you're so passionate about and try and hand that over to somebody else and give them that same passion. So
yeah,
that's really cool. So Nate, let's talk about something that inspires you to keep going just in your day-to-day life, getting up, packaging up that coffee, getting it sent out to everybody, probably drinking a little bit of it while you're
absolutely
doing it.
Oh, trust me, we use our own supply.
Good.
No, so something that really does inspire me every day is knowing the impact that we have. We're able to see direct response. One, people enjoy the coffee. People that have switched over from different coffee shops or whatever, that inspires me. That's great, and I'm glad that
it's great to hear.
Yeah, and people are enjoying it. But I think one of the most important parts of it is the fact that I can tell people, hey, the money that you spent here, we're going to use somewhere else to positively impact somebody else's life. And so every trip that we go on, whether it's through a mission trip through our church or a mission trip that we're going to go on by ourselves, we want to look for ministries of opportunity. And what we mean by that is ministry is an opportunity is where we see a need that we can directly meet right then and there monetarily. So we were in Zambia this past summer, and one of the things that we saw that was really, really heartbreaking, but we knew that we could solve right then and there monetarily, was a woman needed a roof for her house. Had never asked any money for it, but had been praying that she would get a new roof. And so we decided that, hey, we're going to step in here and be able to provide a roof for this woman and her daughters. Because unfortunately, this woman, she didn't think she had much longer to live. She has younger daughters, that kind of thing. And so I can now take that story and say, hey, those of you who enjoy First Love Coffee, those of you who enjoy those things, this is what you did. This is awesome. By you. So that's something that really inspires me. I want to be able to keep sharing those stories with people.
That's fantastic.
Cool. Yeah, that's very cool. David, you want to do the next one?
Sure. So out of that, that was kind of something that popped out, right? That you could be able to help that woman. That's pretty cool. What's one goal that you'd like to achieve with your business? Would you like to continue to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or something else?
Yeah, so really two things that we would really like to do with it. One, my wife and I wanted to be full-time missionaries overseas, so we're hoping that this would be able to do that full-time. The second thing that we'd really like to be able to do is to open up a coffee shop in the next couple of years here in Kansas City, brick and mortar wise.
Oh, wow.
We want to be able to do things like bring people in, have an open library for people to come in and read and enjoy books that are there provided by the community, and also be able to provide a place for especially college students where we know that it is hard to get a job as a college student.
It is.
It's insane.
Bring over some Midwestern Baptist Theological Seminary
absolutely
students.
Or UMKC or Park University, wherever you go to university at.
That's the cool thing to do is work at a coffee shop.
My college might be a little far. 3 hours away. Probably. They might not commute that far.
But what we would like to do is bring those people in to work in the coffee shop and give them a reasonable wage, because places like Starbucks
I didn't hear anything.
Don't really pay a reasonable wage. They pay you $9-10 an hour, and it's hard to live off of that, especially as a college student. Right. And so be able to give a flexible workload and to be able to give a good wage for good work. That's something I would really like to be able to do.
That's awesome. And we won't get into any politics or anything, but I like that, you guys are choosing as an independent company to, nobody's telling you how much you would want to pay these people.
Yeah.
No one is forcing you to do that, but you're deciding that, you want workers that are going to be able to have a good living income off of it, and you're making that choice yourself. And I think that's really cool that you guys are wanting to do that.
One of the things that I think businesses need to start adapting to is allowing their employees to really have a hold or a stake in the company.
Yeah.
If they feel valuable, if they feel like they're worth something in the company, one, they're less likely to leave. The second thing is they're going to take pride in their work. And so it's not just about serving good coffee or doing good things with the funds that come through. It's about treating people right.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really want to stress is, hey, we want to make sure that people are taken care of every step of the way.
So sorry, as you look to the future, right, and you're like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to be, what is a company that inspires you?
Wow. So one company that really does inspire me is Tom's.
Give one, buy one, give
buy
one.
one, give one. Tom's is one of those companies where it almost seems counterproductive. You're purchasing one, making one, and then we're gonna make one for free and give it away.
I haven't bought a Tom for a long time. Are they still?
They're still going really strong.
They're still doing that.
I haven't.
Actually, if you want to listen to a great story, there is a really good podcast, and I believe Guy Ross from NPR does it about Tom's and their startup, and he brings them in, and his name's not Tom, the owner. I can't remember what his name is, but talks all about the humanitarian efforts that they're doing and how they got started with it. It's